This is no beach. This is a bathtub.
I'm Austin.
And I'm Cloud.
And this is... We Watch Spookies.
Today's movie is Slit-Mouthed Woman. Slit-Mouthed Woman is a 2005 Japanese horror film directed by... I can't even...
A dude.
A dude, yeah. Well, Takake Hashiguchi, maybe? Something like that. I'm not even going to try the cast names. How was that synopsis?
Alright, so there's this woman. She ends up killing herself because she thinks she's ugly. She cuts her mouth open, like Joker style, only all the way, so it's not just scars. And then she kills people, but she's a ghost. So she haunts them, but she seems to like only kill people who are screwing each other, which is...
all the time.
All the time. Like, okay, listen here. This movie is like an hour and 3 minutes. That's 63 minutes. There's at least 6 scenes where people are screwing each other, and it is incredibly graphic. That means every 10.5 minutes, you get to see someone bang.
Yeah. Which basically, like, we don't know for sure, but as much as it looks like, they might as well just be having actual sex. We don't know.
Yeah.
We don't see the literal penetration, so it's not quite like full-on pornographic, but it almost is and might as well be.
Yeah.
So
don't take your kids to this one.
No.
I mean, maybe don't take anyone to this one unless you just want to see a lot of people, maybe fictionally, maybe not, do it a bunch, and every now and then something happens in between that doesn't really matter that much.
Like, there's not even much of a story here. Like,
No.
I already told you the entire story. You do not even have to watch this movie.
I mean, woman works at magazine, guy who gets killed for doing it early in the movie has disappeared, and so she's got to finish his magazine story, and
We don't even know if
eventually the
he
whole
was
thing-
doing it.
Do
That
we
was a
not?
doctor and a nurse.
Oh, that's right. That's not even him.
Yeah.
Something happened to him.
All right. So, okay. So it opens up. We're in what looks like a really crummy, dirty, rundown hospital. Doctor shows up, knocks on the window. Him and nurse go into this area known as the Forbidden Chamber. Kinky.
That they have to untape the door
Yeah.
in order to get into.
And then they're like, oh, we're naked on the cleanest hospital bed in existence. In a completely dirty environment. And they're just going ham. And then it's just like, oh yeah, I have hair drooping on my face. I'm a ghost, and now y'all are dead. And everybody else in the hospital's gone. And so
dead.
Yeah. And then we cut to the magazine. And then we have this lady who's talking about writing an article for like married women, and she wants to write an article for single women. And the guy's like, yeah, no, like this dude's gone, so we need you to pick up where he left off. Yeah, here you go. And then it's just like, oh yeah, he was writing this article about these people missing from the hospital. So she picks it up.
And pushes it all off the desk at the same time. She's allowed to use whatever's on his desk, which turns out to be big stacks of binders and files and things that immediately start to slide off as soon
Like
as she starts to do any work.
Like there are no drawers.
No, it's just
Just
piles.
desk space. Just desk space.
So yeah, I guess we don't see him. Maybe he was just at the hospital poking around and got murdered by the ghost.
Got disappeared.
But that would be out of character, sort of. I mean, even hers at the end, I was like, she better not get killed, because otherwise it breaks the rules.
Yeah.
Because we never saw anybody get killed that was just, like, minding their own business. Like, everybody gets killed is doing it.
Yeah.
Either at the time or sometime previously before they get killed, because there's one time where that happens. And she's like, jumps out the window or something at her own house sometime later. But it's after they were at the hospital.
And like people that we see die, it's weird because it's like they're naked but they're jumping up and down, and it's played extremely fast, so it's very unnerving.
Yeah, that's the only thing. The first time it wasn't scary because it was just like, what is happening?
The hell?
When it happens again to the girl at the end, it was like kind of creepy because I didn't expect it.
Yeah.
And then it was just happening. I was like, this is okay. But just really the only moment that was even like that. Because mostly nothing actually scary happens.
No.
Mostly just ordinary things happen. People doing it happens. And then there's this like one sound effect that tells you something creepy is going to happen.
Which sounds like a mixture of a weed eater, a lawnmower, someone growling deeply with their like raspy voice. And it all seems to be played through like a funnel, but backwards.
Yeah. So
it's like they're trying, like they do it to the large end, so it comes out the small end, and then they just crank the volume on that up, and it is the silliest thing that I've ever heard for a horror movie.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they're doing it in the large end and the small end. So.
Yeah. But like, okay, so at the end of the movie, the lady, the journalist lady, finds out the secret for the Slit-Mouthed Woman, goes to the hospital, kind of comforts her, and then says something about like you're in me now. And I'm like, okay, metaphorical shit. All right. No. No, like now she's possessing this lady. And then she's like, oh, I wonder how the curse gets passed along. It's probably people doing it. And I'm like, okay, if that's the rule they're giving us at the end of the movie, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Because
that's what we've seen.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how it makes sense because there wasn't anything like that involved in the circumstances of how she died or anything that seems to put a sex relatedness on the curse, except that she wanted to be pretty, I guess.
Well, like, remember, she was screwing that one guy.
Yeah,
and he goes back to his wife and kids.
But
and I guess it's like, if I can't be loved, nobody can do it.
Uh-huh.
And especially not in my old hospital room.
I want to feel sex.
One last time. And so, like, okay, if that's how they're going to go about it, it does kind of make sense with the progression. The guy, I guess, I don't know if they're supposed to be in a relationship, but
I can't tell.
This dude takes this random chick on a dare into the hospital. They do it there. They evac. She ends up jumping out of the window. He ends up screwing our journalist lady's younger sister. And then the younger sister ends up screwing the journalist lady's husband. And then at the very end of the movie, they're in the bed and he's trying to get some. And then she turns her head and it's like, oh, it's the Slit-Mouthed Woman.
Yeah, after the jumping.
Like oh, this is very... How about no?
Which he doesn't... It is actually kind of weird and rule breaky because it seems like she saw it happen to the boyfriend guy.
Yeah.
Because she's in shock for some period of time after. So she at least saw the Slit-Mouthed Woman, or she saw the bouncing up and down, or some part of it, because she was way too scared to have him just died in an ordinary, invisible to her way. And so she saw something. But then she's just there on the bed and she turns her head to look at us and she has the mouth.
No, that's the different woman.
No, I mean...
The one that we see bouncing is the younger sister. Because it's her turn to die. It's going in a chain.
Wait.
At the end, the woman who is naked and bouncing really fast is the younger sister.
And is she a different person than the one with the mouth in the same scene?
That is the wife. The one that just got back. She had the mirror that she brought from the hospital. That's the journalist lady.
I don't understand what happened then at the end. Because I thought she bounced up and down and then had the mouth.
No. It'd be really okay. So
Because, like,
husband is sucking on a titty. All right, so
Yeah,
she
yeah,
ain't
yeah.
getting off that bed.
Well, no, that's what was confusing. But it's just like several of these people are difficult from like they all look very similar to each other, and it's not because they're Asian. Like it's not like there's no like they all look alike thing here. It's just like they look very similar to each other, and very similar things happen to each group of them. And so it was difficult for me to like tell who was who several different times.
It's all about them haircuts.
I thought it was even they weren't that different,
No, they weren't.
but I thought it was the same person.
No,
And so
that was the younger sister.
I don't know how this works. So where was the bouncing happening?
In her room.
In her
She was
room.
dying.
So she was dying while they were doing it.
Yes.
Okay, so it is happening at the same time.
Yes.
It's just to different people.
Yes.
Okay.
In other words, the curse still exists.
Yeah. I mean, I think I still think it's kind of changed somewhat, because she's just like laying there on the bed, like almost like smiling at the end, which is very different than anything that happens before. She's not like
She's got a
creeping
body
from place
now.
to place.
She isn't attacking through the mirror. It's crazy.
Um,
It's ridiculous.
and she's not in the room with the thing that's happening.
Yeah.
Like with the people that are getting killed, which she had been before. Yeah, the story part of the story. There's one scene. Well, there's the scene where she meets the other, like the woman with the bad nose,
Yeah.
and she gives her some information, and then she goes back to the offices, and reads the notes again, and thinks about it, and asks him to look into the politician angle. And then the entire rest of the story is given to us by the politician guy. And he just lays the whole thing out, even though he doesn't really believe it, I don't think. But he still tells it as if it could
real.
maybe be
Yeah.
real.
And then he does the worst acting crying scene ever.
And then she goes to the hospital, and then the things happen, and she like takes on the spirit or whatever. But there isn't, even though I think we had some issues with the original version of One Missed Call, different ones than we had with the American one, but there was at least still more, like the investigation of what happened and the finding out of what happened
Yeah.
took longer, and there was more involved in like this.
Like people had to work to find stuff out.
It's not like,
let me call this dude up.
I talked to one person, then I had an idea, and then I called this guy, and he met with me and told the whole story in one scene. It's not spaced out at all. And it's just because the thing is barely over an hour long. It's like an hour, 1.5 or something without the credits.
It's like an hour and 3 minutes. And then we get like 50 seconds of credits.
Yeah. So it's very short. And I don't know if maybe it would have benefited from, if it was longer, there would probably just be more doing it, because that seems to be the movie that was getting made. There's very little information about it. I can't find out like anything. There is an IMDb page for it. But there's not that much on it, and there's no Wikipedia article for it. There's just a mention of it in the larger article about the Slit-Mouthed Woman story itself. And then there's just a list of all the times the story has been adapted into various things. And it's the second one in live action. There's one in 96. And then there's this one. And then there's a bunch more after that. So, the Am I Pretty thing, which I guess is part of the original legend, is mentioned here when they're at the dinner table. But it never actually happens.
No.
So it's weird that they bring up the real story and then don't follow it. And I guess that it's a like really, really old story, right? Like it's
old enough.
well, I guess actually wait. I guess it's just like sort of like the 70s is when the main like body of the sightings started happening. I thought it was older than that. But they bring up the story, which she says, I don't like stories like that. But she knows an awful lot of detail.
Yeah, and she wasn't even the one talking about it. It's like, hey, it's like we were supposed to go to this place for a dare, but I didn't want to do it, and because there's a story, and here is like almost the entire story. I don't like stories like this. Then shut up. Like,
Yeah.
really?
Well, I think what she really means is, and maybe this is just a translation thing, because I don't know what they're actually saying. And there's every now and then some weirdness in the phrasing and the subtitles,
Yeah.
and so it may not be exactly what they meant. But I think she means stories like that scare me, which is a different thing than I don't like stories like that.
Most likely.
Because there are things that scare me that I still like I don't remember how much I talked about this on the Chernobyl Diaries episode. I don't seem to remember that much. But like the actual real Chernobyl event is like really like unsettling to me, and it's like really creepy to read about. And even like not when there aren't like made up like ghosts and things the way that movie did, but just like the real. Just the real story, and just little details that are super frightening. Like most of the pictures that we have of the outside of it after the disaster happened from like right away were taken from helicopters where like those people died later, of course. But well, everybody dies later, but they died more immediately later than they would have otherwise. But they described the being able to, even from a few thousand feet that they were in the helicopter, feel the radiation, and just like it felt like needles poking into your face, and then just like going down into the bottom of it to take the picture of what people know of as the elephant's foot, of the big piece of like melted concrete reactor core mess that just like soaked down through the floor and is just like there hanging out of that pipe. It just like all of just reading about it at all like really creeps me out, but I still like want to read about it sometimes.
Yeah.
And so I understand, like, if that's what she means, it's just like stories like that scare me. I still read the story, so I still know all this detail about it. Like, I understand that. But it's weird the way that she says it.
Oh yeah. Jesus. There is. Yeah. I know. I don't speak it, but I understand enough of it. There is a lot of not good subtitling for this movie. Because there's a lot that's said, and the subtitles like take a good liberty. Just like, oh no, they actually said this. Like, no, it's actually as simple as what it sounds like. Especially when they were like whenever they would start a conversation and they would address each other, it's like all of that extra subtitling just is unnecessary. Might as well just say hi. Right. No, like that whole sentence. Fuck that sentence. They didn't say that. Move on. Oh, what else was there? We got the doing it.
So much doing it.
The doing it.
Oh.
The hospital room bed. The doing it. The lady's face. The mirror. Doing it. The bouncing up and down is really weird. Like, why are they even naked? I mean, because like it doesn't even look like naked. It looks like cartoon naked. It's like they're wearing like a skin colored bodysuit and they're just jumping up and down super fast.
I think that's just the blur.
And then they speed it up so it's even faster than that.
Because I don't know why
And
they
it's
would bother to have not real nakedness, because
Yeah.
there's plenty of it the rest of the time.
So fast, and it's like, oh wow, like this is ridiculous. And then there's the doing it, and there's the crazy lady who like laughs and then stops laughing.
Yeah.
There's the politician guy who can't cry. There's the doing it.
The back of his car says president on it. I think it's just the model of the car.
All right, there's a shot where she's talking to the ex-politician, because remember he's retired, and they're on the roof, and you get to see what they're looking at downwards.
Mm-hmm.
And personally, I think it's fake.
I don't think it's fake. I think it's just resolution, because when he's actually because it's not very good quality, but when he's standing at the edge of it, when we're at the closer shot of him, it's the same background and it looks way more real. Like I think it's just the way the focus makes it look and the lack of resolution. Because like remember when we watched Heroes, and they have all of these shots of them standing on the roofs of buildings, and I thought all of it was fake. It all looks so fake because of the way it's processed and the way that the depth of field is. But it's not. They actually shot it on real rooftops and it's real, but it looks super fake. And so I think it's like that. I don't think, because why they didn't have any money. It doesn't look like the rest of the time. Why would they build a model of a city when they could just go up on a roof?
Well, the reason I think something's off is because you don't see any motion down there. Because like regardless where you go, like every city is going to be like highly packed, and you don't really see any.
It kind of looks
movement.
like an industrial area or something. So if it's on a day or a time of day where there's not much work going on, and where there wouldn't be a lot of pedestrians or something, it's just factories and stuff. I don't know. It does. It has kind of a weird look to it, but I don't think that it's a model or a painting or anything. If it was, it's the only like visual effect in the movie, except for the bouncing, I guess. But because they don't really do anything. Even all of the just she's over there and then she's not isn't anything like fancy.
Yeah.
It's just like they look over there and then they look away and she walks off and then they look over there again. Like it's not there's nothing complicated or expensive or effects heavy. Apparently one of the things that people do to the supposed like escape from real encounters is to throw candy at her, because then she'll like pick it up and be distracted for a moment and then it gives you time to run away.
I wonder what would she do if you just drop kicked her? Like you throw some candy down, she bends over, and you just like plant both feet right onto her skull.
I don't know. It didn't seem like anybody ever tried that. So they just you can either like throw candy at her or fruit, some people do, to distract. Some people, when she says, "Do you think I'm pretty?" turn it around and say, "Do you think I'm pretty?" And then she has to think for a moment, and then it gives you time to run away. So it mostly just seems like people like distract in some way and then run away, and that's as much as people try. So
Hey lady, your shoes are untied.
yeah. There's just like this is not that much. I mean, this was 24 minutes, but there's not that much episode. But there's just not that much movie, so there's not a lot to talk
God, if
about.
this episode was as long as the movie,
I mean, I feel like we've done that before. We had either as much or almost as much show as there was movie, but yeah. I mean, you're getting one of these every day, so maybe you won't mind a little bit shorter one today.
I'll do you a solid. Don't watch this one.
You had one yesterday. Yeah.
I don't care how much weeaboo you are. Like, listen here. Like, don't waste your hour and 3 minutes.
Uh-huh. And if you do,
don't take your kids to this one.
At all.
Did busy making kids. If they didn't die right away.
You know, maybe it's the kids that are in the second one, which is much better. You want to watch some Slit-Mouthed Woman? You go watch the second one. I think it's like Carved Slit-Mouthed Woman, because it actually deals with like kids telling the story, and like this lady kidnaps them and stuff. It's crazy.
So how do you feel that stars?
1.
Yeah.
It's garbage.
It's garbage.
It's garbage.
It's unnecessary garbage.
Like, even if it was like, hey, we're gonna make a porno with a story. It's the worst porno with a story ever. Like,
no,
there's
I'm
nothing,
here to
There's nothing redeeming about it.
install your cable is better than the story that's here. Let me fix your plumbing.
What are you doing? What are you doing at the beach with no lifeguard? This is no beach. This is a bathtub. Ah, that's my favorite one. God, I love you, the internet.
So how scary is it?
Not at all. Okay, is 0 a score?
0 score?
There wasn't even a part that was remotely scary. Like no jump scares, nothing. Even the bouncing was more ridiculous than it was scary.
The first time, okay, so
like,
is 0, like, are we doing 0? Because we haven't before, so we didn't really discuss what the system here is, except that it's out of 10. But we don't do. I just assume there was no 0 because we don't do 0 normally.
It's a -4.
It's
that's just how not scary.
I mean, if we're going to 0, I'll give it 1 because the last time they did the bouncing thing, I was like, ooh, and so it was like 1. The first time it was like, what is this? But then
I'm a little more aroused than I am.
But then
scared.
the last time it was like, oh, this is okay. So
that's something named right there.
It's not totally without at least the slightest amount of uneasiness. So it's not like
it gets a 1 because there can't be lower than a 1.
Like it thinks it's
1 through
scary,
10.
and we're just like pointing and cackling like hyenas with laughter the entire time. It's not like that's a negative score there, but although it's still not, because we might have scariness themed movies with more comedic elements as the primary driving factor, so that doesn't mean that they get negative scores. It just means that they're not that scary. So yeah, it's a 1. It's not scary, and it's not good, and it's not worth the time, even though it didn't take that much time.
With all that bouncing, they make a cream for that.
And that's all we have to say about Slit-Mouthed Woman. We'll see you next time.
Later.
One more time.
Don't take your kids to this one.
God, even the music for the end of this episode was scarier than the movie.
Weed eater with chain.
Like, we took all these sounds and stuck them in a funnel. What? Hear the fucking chains in the background? My God.